Welcome back to Harrison City. It is the Xfinity High School football game post-game show brought to you by the Pittsburgh Sports Report, Pittsburgh's premier sports publication. Chris Shublin, Ellis Cannon, Tim Benz, all here at Warrior Stadium in Harrison City tonight. It turned out to be a defensive battle, didn't it?
It really did. The numbers in the first two games for both offenses very high in light of who they played. But there was talk that Penn-Trafford's defense was going to be very good. And despite having to replace a lot of people, particularly in that second tier, they showed up tonight. Their front line is very impressive, actually on both sides, but defensively as well. And they knew a one-dimensional team like McKeesport could be limited. And, boy, they really plugged the gaps. They had gap integrity, and they did a great, great job in that regard.
Let's take a look at our Best of the Batch Foundation play of the game here tonight. And there were so many plays to pick from. I'll tell you what, we'll give some love to the McKeesport Tigers. This was a dazzler. How about it? This is Mark Cromarty. Starting left, cutting back right, running it in from 23 yards out. At that point in time, Penn-Trafford had been up 14-0, so it was important for McKeesport to answer that deep two-touchdown early deficit. They did. They made it a one-score game for quite some time.
Key sequence, then a turnover after you saw the guys of McKeesport on the sideline jumping up and down. McKeesport gets great field position. They don't do much with it. There was a punt. It goes into the end zone, so the net wasn't very big at all. 80 yards, 50, 60 seconds at max for Penn-Trafford with no timeouts, results in a touchdown pass with a remarkable one with 3 seconds to go. That might have been a backbreaker right then and there.
That, of course, to Timmy Vecchio from 49 yards away. LaFoon put the ball where he had to. Vecchio just dynamic in making adjustments in midair.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he does have great body control, and that was illustrated a lot tonight. It was actually illustrated as well on a kickoff that was called back because of a penalty. But, you know, again, let's give credit where it's due. When it looked like McKeesport was going to get back in the game, when they start picking up some chunks on that flex, all of a sudden you felt that momentum, there was a stop there by Penn-Trafford. And that's really what signaled and triggered the ultimate touchdown at the end of the half.
Perhaps one of the most dramatic moments of the game is Lisbon slanting toward the goalpost, running into the end zone, having the ball stripped, and then McKeesport returned it all the way 93 yards down to its 8-yard line, only to get a block in the back call. That meant a mark-off of 10 yards from the spot of the foul. It took the ball all the way back to the McKeesport 8-yard line, so it really nullified a scoring opportunity for them at that point in time. Big turning point in the game.
A national play if it doesn't get turned around.
I'm telling you.
We would have been on national highlights, Chris.
We would have been. Right now, let's go to the sidelines. Tim Benz with Coach John Ruane.
Coach, I got to ask you, in the third and fourth quarter there, have you ever been part of a second half of football where so much happened except on the scoreboard?
Yeah, I mean, we had a touchdown, and we had I don't know how many yards it was, down to the 1-yard line and fumbled, called back, and then obviously a fumble. You know, we really killed ourselves all night long. But credit our defense. I mean, that was a physical football game. McKeesport's the worst team to play because they beat you in the submission. But our guys battled through it. I mean, we took a lot of shots tonight, but we were giving out shots as well. I don't think they've been tackled like that in a while either. So both teams, I think, are going to be sore in the morning. But, man, our defense was lights out.
You brought up the defense. Stanford and Guest were excellent, and Stanford even helped out on offense to put the nail in the coffin there with that last catch.
Yeah, he's a Division I football player for a reason. I mean, he's big, he's athletic, he's strong, and he's mean. I mean, he plays with an edge, and, you know, he's been great for us all season. He's been great for 3 years. He's been a 3-year starter for us. And, you know, he sets the tone for us, and we played with his edge tonight.
You mentioned the defense on a couple of occasions and the job that they did to set the tone, but also offensively. You had the ball for what felt like the last, I think it was 10, 11 minutes of the fourth quarter. Yeah. What a grind job that was by them up front to take the clock.
It was,
down.
And that was the most proud I was all night of our offense. I mean, we willed ourselves to the win in the fourth. You know, we didn't want to give them the ball back for sure. They're so athletic and fast. But our line came off. Our backs kept running. You know, our quarterback was banged up. He was a warrior through it all. He kept running the ball. It took a lot of guys tonight. We had cramps. We had injuries. But a lot of guys substituted in and got it done.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the time, and congratulations on the victory.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We'll be back in a moment with the Pittsburgh Sports Report player of the game, Timmy Vecchio.
All right, Tim, thank you much. Just a tremendous game tonight on both sides of the football defensively. Again, no points in the second half.
Yeah, and when you start taking a look again at the averages coming in, we knew they'd be a little bit high. Well, they were high, but they were over 400 yards a game for McKeesport, and they didn't get that tonight or anywhere near it. Credit that defense, and credit really great tackling. He needed a lot of tackles tonight, and he got them, and I do think that McKeesport's going to feel it tomorrow.
All right, as Tim said, Timmy Vecchio is our player of the game. He is with Tim Benz on the sidelines right now. Tim?
Yeah, Timmy Vecchio, a guy who I've never seen a player, I mentioned this to your coach before you came over, the two big plays where nothing changed the scoreboard, but how many yards do you think you ran on the kick return that got called back, and then a near touchdown, come all the way back down the field, and then have it go back again? It looked like you were cramping up after that for a while.
Yeah, I started cramping in my legs there a little, but I mean, I just tried to do whatever I could to get back in the game and help the team to win this one.
Your coach talked at great length about the defensive players taking care of the line of scrimmage, and you guys in the defensive backfield did your job as well. You knocked down a pass. They're obviously a running team. You guys didn't give them any looks downfield, though. Collectively, talk about the effort on defense.
The defense did outstanding. I mean, they did a terrific job. The front line there, they did a heck of a job. Andre, Chris, Garrett, all those guys did wonderful. The linebackers filled. Everyone did their job tonight, which is what we needed.
Lisbon and Laffoon, both of those guys fought through injury. You weren't the only one. Lisbon's ankle, they did a really hard tape job on him. Came out, took the shoe off, and got him all, I guess, ready to play again. Put the shoe back on, put the equipment back on, and he was back out there. He had to gut out that performance.
Yeah, those two are tough kids there. They just came out here and did whatever they could to help us win this game.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the time. Congratulations, and congratulations on being player of the game.
Thank you. Appreciate
That's
it.
Timmy Vecchio, 21-7, the final score here as Penn-Trafford beats McKeesport at Warrior Stadium.
All right, Tim, thank you much, and welcome to our club. Tim Benz, of course, local radio star here in the sports world, and we're glad to have him on the tube here today.
Yeah, as I said, it's great having him back, and always have a lot of fun with Tim through the years, many years, from when he first came here, and great job tonight. And I'll tell you one thing, it's interesting to hear that question about the DBs, because we talked about that before the game, talked about it during the game. The DBs last year were very effective for Penn-Trafford. They held Hudson to 53 yards. He had more tonight, but he really had to earn them. But that doesn't happen unless those first seven, and in particular the linebackers, step up. You heard them say they've got to stick to their gaps, and they did that. Those monsters up front are going to do it, Stanford and Guest. But because the question is, were those defensive backs last year able to be so effective against McKeesport because of the linebackers? And would they be so successful this year? Well, guess what? Those DBs are pretty good, and these linebackers aren't bad either.
A hard-hitting ball game here tonight. Penn-Trafford wins it by a final tally of 21-7. Again, Ben Davis started it off, 7-yard fumble recovery and return for a touchdown. Timmy Vecchio scored on a 15-yard pass from Brett Laffoon. McKeesport made it close. Mark Cromartie, 23-yard run, but then Vecchio broke it wide open. A 49-yard strike from Laffoon. That ended the first half. That ended the scoring. And Penn-Trafford holds on to get the win. They go to 3-0. McKeesport is now 2-1. I've got a feeling we're going to see them both in the playoffs.
May see him play again.
Yeah, you never know. For our entire Comcast crew here in Pittsburgh, our Xfinity TV high school football game of the week, Chris Shovlin, Ellis Cannon, Tim Benz, all the folks from Viewpoint Production Services. Thank you so much for tuning in.